Welcome to Financial Windfalls. Stop spending, start securing. Today we'll turn a surprise lump sum, like $30,000, into long-term stability. We'll cover what to do first, why an emergency fund is non-negotiable, how to balance debt with future goals, and the exact next steps to put your plan on autopilot. Let's begin, and then we'll move into a quick disclaimer to set the context. Important disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute personalized financial advice. Your situation may differ based on income, debt, risk tolerance, and goals. Please consult a licensed financial professional before making major financial decisions. With that clear, let's move on to the game plan and agenda so you know exactly what to expect. Here's today's agenda. First, we'll define why security comes first. Next, we'll calculate your true safety net and show how to park cash in a high-yield savings account immediately. Then, we'll prioritize high-interest debt and discuss balancing big goals, like saving for a home, with ongoing obligations. After that, we'll walk through a step-by-step 90-day plan, highlight common pitfalls, test your knowledge with a quick quiz, and end with clear takeaways and action items. Now let's shift to the mindset that drives every correct decision. Your windfall is not found money to splurge with. It's a foundation to protect your future self. If an upcoming major event is about to deplete your savings, then that money was never a true emergency fund. The non-negotiable first priority is to create an untouchable cash reserve that covers 4 to 6 months of essential expenses. With high monthly overhead, even $30,000 may only cover 4 months, which is often insufficient. With that mindset established, let's visualize the priorities in a simple map before we run the numbers. This mind map places the $30,000 windfall in the center and branches into 5 pillars. First, emergency fund. You need 4 to 6 months of essential expenses in a high-yield savings account, kept untouchable and ideally funded via automatic transfers. Second, high-interest debt. Use the Avalanche method by targeting the highest annual percentage rate first. For example, a 5% car loan takes priority over a 4% student loan. Third, near-term goals under 5 years, such as a home down payment or initial costs for children, which should be saved in a separate bucket. Fourth, boundaries. Avoid luxury splurges. Label accounts clearly. Automate transfers, and consider accountability to prevent leakage. Fifth, risk management. Prepare for job loss, medical emergencies, or housing repairs. Now that the structure is clear, let's calculate how large your safety net actually needs to be. Start by listing only essential monthly expenses, such as housing, utilities, groceries, insurance, transportation, minimum debt payments, and childcare. Then compute your target emergency reserve by multiplying your monthly essentials by 4 to 6. For example, if your essential costs are $7,500 per month, then $30,000 covers 4 months, because $30,000 divided by $7,500 equals 4. If your income is variable, or if you have dependents, aim for the higher end of 6 months or more. Finally, store this reserve in a high-yield savings account that is insured where applicable, offers easy access, and pays a competitive yield. With the number in hand, let's lock in the first moves you should make immediately. In the first week, open or designate a dedicated high-yield savings account and label it clearly as an emergency fund that should not be touched. Transfer the entire $30,000 into that account immediately, because speed is more important than indecision. If your bank allows it, disable debit card access and hide the account from your everyday dashboard to reduce temptation. Next, set 2 automations. One monthly top-up to reach the full 6 months of expenses, and a separate automated transfer toward near-term goals, such as a home down payment. Finally, write down your rules in plain language. What qualifies as an emergency, how you will replenish the account after any withdrawal, and who will help keep you accountable. With the baseline secured, let's map decisions for the remaining dollars or for future inflows. This flowchart begins when you receive a windfall. First question. Do you already have 4 to 6 months of expenses saved as an emergency fund? If not, send the windfall to your high-yield savings account until that requirement is met. Then stop. If yes, check for high-interest debt and sort by annual percentage rate. If the rate exceeds 6%, direct extra payments to the highest rate first using the Avalanche approach, then recheck remaining balances. If rates are between 4 and 6%, consider splitting extra cash between debt reduction and your near-term goal. If rates are below 4%, prioritize near-term goal savings. Next, ask whether your home purchase timeline is under 5 years. If it is, Create a separate down payment bucket and allocate a monthly split, for example 60 to 70% toward the goal, and 30 to 40% toward debt, adjusted for your risk tolerance. If the timeline exceeds 5 years, continue the Avalanche plan or follow your long-term investment strategy as appropriate. With the decision flow in place, let's apply it to debt specifically. To attack debt efficiently, use the Avalanche method. Pay minimums on all accounts and direct every extra dollar to the highest interest rate first. For instance, a 5% car loan takes priority over a 4% federal student loan. When a balance is eliminated, roll that freed up payment into the next highest rate to accelerate progress. Before making extra payments, verify there are no prepayment penalties and that you are not forfeiting valuable borrower benefits such as forgiveness eligibility. Finally, if a debt carries a very low rate and you have an aggressive near-term goal under 5 years, consider maintaining the debt while you save more rapidly for that goal. Now, let's compare Avalanche with the popular snowball method to understand trade-offs. The Avalanche method targets the highest interest rate first, which mathematically minimizes interest paid and generally lowers the total cost. It is efficient but demands discipline because early victories can be less visible. Conversely, the snowball method focuses on the smallest balances first, creating quick emotional wins and stronger early momentum, but it may result in higher interest costs over time. Given a focus on security and long-term efficiency, Avalanche is preferred, but choose the method you can consistently follow. With methods compared, let's examine a few allocation scenarios to make the approach concrete. This table outlines 4 illustrative scenarios. In scenario A, your emergency fund is under 4 months and high-interest debt exists, so 100% of the windfall should go to the high-yield savings account until you reach 4 to 6 months. In scenario B, you have about 4 months saved and debts between 4 and 6%, while your goal timeline is under 5 years, so allocate roughly 60 to 70% to the goal fund and 30 to 40% to debt. In scenario C, you have at least 6 months saved and high-interest debts above 6% remain, so direct all extra cash to the highest APR debt. In scenario D, with a full emergency fund and only low-rate debts under 4% and a near-term goal under 5 years, direct all extra to the goal fund. Now, let's test your understanding with a quick quiz. Quiz time. You receive a $30,000 windfall, but your emergency fund covers only 2 months of essential expenses. What should you do first? Option A, buy a used luxury car to celebrate. Option B, split it 50-50 between a vacation and investments. Option C, place the entire $30,000 into a high-yield savings account to build the emergency fund. Option D, pay extra toward a 4% student loan immediately. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to place the entire $30,000 into a high-yield savings account to build the emergency fund. Without 4 to 6 months of essential expenses saved, your top priority is security. Once that foundation is fully funded, then you can move on to debt and goals. Next, let's apply the balance principle to a home down payment timeline. When your target home purchase is under 5 years away, open a separate down payment fund. If your emergency fund sits near 4 months and your debts have rates between 4 and 6%, consider allocating 60 to 70% of extra cash to the down payment and 30 to 40% to debt. Keep the down payment safe using a high-yield savings account, short-term treasury bills, or certificates of deposit that match your timeline. Avoid letting discretionary wants derail these priorities. Postpone upgrades and luxuries until your emergency fund is complete and high-interest debt is declining. Reassess every quarter by updating your essential expenses, reviewing income stability, and adjusting the allocation as needed. Now, let's organize the next 90 days into a simple roadmap. This timeline breaks the first 90 days into 4 phases. In days 0 to 7, open the high-yield savings account, transfer the $30,000, disable debit access, and write your emergency fund rules. In days 8 to 30, calculate your 4 to 6 month target, set up automatic transfers, list all debts by interest rate, and make your first Avalanche-style extra payment. In days 31 to 60, open a separate goal bucket for your down payment, finalize your monthly split, review your insurance coverage, and add calendar reminders. In days 61 to 90, increase automation amounts if your income allows, track emergency fund progress, reassess your list of interest rates, and schedule your quarterly review. Before we wrap up, let's cover pitfalls to avoid. Avoid several common pitfalls. Do not treat the windfall as spending money. It is a safety tool. Do not mislabel event or vacation savings as an emergency fund because they are not. Do not prioritize low-interest debt while ignoring a thin emergency fund. Do not invest down payment funds too aggressively when your horizon is under 5 years. Finally, do not skip automation and rely solely on willpower. With those hazards in mind, let's do one more quick quiz to cement the priorities. Second quiz. You have a 5% car loan and a 4% student loan, and your emergency fund is already at 6 months. What is the next best move? Option A. Split extra cash evenly between both loans. Option B. Pay extra toward the 5% car loan first, using the Avalanche method. Option C. Focus entirely on investments and ignore the loans. Option D. Pay off the 4% student loan first because it feels better. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to pay extra toward the 5% car loan first, using the Avalanche method. By targeting the highest interest rate, you minimize total interest paid and clear the costlier debt sooner. After it is paid off, roll that payment into the next debt. Now, let's consolidate the most important takeaways in a concise summary. Here are the key takeaways. First, prioritize security by building a 4 to 6 month emergency fund in a high-yield savings account and keep it untouchable. Second, use the Avalanche method to pay down debt, starting with the highest interest rate, and verify the terms before making extra payments. Third, for goals under 5 years, keep the funds safe, separate, and consider a 60 to 70% to 30 to 40% split between the goal and debt depending on your situation. Fourth, automate transfers, reminders, and quarterly reviews to stay consistent. Fifth, avoid mislabeling event savings as an emergency fund, avoid chasing wants prematurely, and avoid investing short-term money too aggressively. To close this out, let's end with a final encouragement and call to action. Thank you for watching. If this helped you turn a windfall into a safety fortress, please like the video, share it with someone who needs a plan, and subscribe for more smart money moves. What would you do first with $30,000? Share your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.